First of all, I welcome you all for this International Model United Nations Conference on criminalizing reprisals against the natural environment. Please, everybody, unmute. Please mute your mic, please. Today is a very special date, again, with the collaboration with the Institute of Legal and Policy Research. Again, the third time we are organizing this Model United Nations Conference. Let us begin with the program with an invocation song delivered by Afreen Taj, student of first year LLB, 3 years. Over to you, Afreen.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. सुमनसवन्दिते ज्ञानप्रदाते शारदमाते मङ्गलदाते सुमनसवन्दिते ज्ञानप्रदाते शारदमाते मङ्गलदाते सुमनसमानिते शुभकरचरणे सुमनस कोमल मंगलवदने वाणी सुभाषिणी वीणा पाणि धवल सुशोभित तेज स्वरूपिणी सुमनस वंदिते ज्ञान प्रदाते शारदमाते मंगलदाते शारदमाते मंगलदाते. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I take this opportunity to welcome Shri Venugopal Sir, Associate Director, International Affairs, St. Joseph University. Sir, are you there? Venugopal Sir? Okay. I also welcome my Guru, Professor Dr. T.R. Maruti Sir, the Professor of International Department of Studies in Law, University of Mysore. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
I also welcome Professor Dr. Basarajappa HD, former Professor and Dean, Department of Studies in Earth Science, Center for Advanced Studies in Pericambrian Geology, University of Mysore. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
I also welcome the judge of this Model United Nations Conference, Mr. Jali Willie Mongo, the Council of United Nations International Residual Mechanism for Criminal Tribunals. Welcome you, sir. Jali, sir. Okay, in absentia, our principal, Dr. Deepu P, will be joining us very shortly. There's some technical glitches. So in absentia, I also welcome Dr. Deepu P, who is also the will be delivering the presidential address in this particular program. And I also thank the chair of this particular session, Mr. Abhijit Kaundanya. Welcome you, Abhijit. Abhijit? Okay. I also welcome Kadria, the co-chair of this Model United Nations conference. Welcome you, Kadria.
Thank you, ma'am.
And the rapporteur of this Model United Nations conference, Ms. Charumati Sadashai. Welcome you, dear.
Thank you, ma'am.
I also welcome all the delegates, the participants who are present in this particular United Nations conference. And over to the rapporteur and the chair to take over the session. Thank you. Abhijit?
Ma'am, let us start with the session.
Will you invite the guests or shall I invite?
Ma'am, I presume you would be inviting.
No, whether Venugopal sir has joined? Okay, we'll start with Professor Maruti sir. Dr. Professor Maruti sir, who is a professor of Department of Studies in Law, University of Mysore, So, sir will be delivering a keynote address on the issue of the criminalizing reprisals against the natural environment. So, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, let me congratulate each one of you for taking some time to be a part of this Model United Nations conference on criminalizing reprisal against natural environment. Esteemed President of Vidyavardhaka Law College, Kundapaji, Professor Basaraja Pasar, former professor and dean of Science and Faculty, University of Mysore, Mr. Jolly Willy Mango, Dr. Sridevi Krishna, who is the coordinator of this today's function, Kadri Hasimi, CEO of Organization of Green Future Afghanistan, and who is instrumental in organizing this program, Syed Kudrat, CEO of Institute of Legal and Policy Research, Afghanistan, esteemed colleagues, academicians among the audience, delegates, above ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I am indeed privileged and honored to be a part of this program, which is being held on time. The topic in which you have chosen for this Model United Nations conference is really unique, and it is relevant to the contemporary international law, as I feel. When you talk on reprisal, there are two things to be learned from this reprisal, as you have already been known. If at all you want to settle some international disputes, there are two ways. Either you can go for pacific settlement of disputes or coercive measures. Among the coercive measures, reprisal is one of the mechanisms where you can settle some disputes between states themselves. And you know the fact that war is inevitable. Either it could be internal or international armed conflict. As far as the historians concerned, there were more than 12,751 wars took place among the nations. They include 22 major wars, 6 armed conflicts. Basically, when you are just dealing with the crisis of a war, obviously you have to define what is war. This is what OpenAIM said long ago. War is nothing but contest between states. Now, that definition is actually outdated, as I believe. Of course, so there are many arguments leveled against this concept of war. War, it does not mean it is an absence of the peace. This is one thing. Peace must be restored. We need to have a triple justice. It could be social, economic, and the political justice should be shared to the people who are left out in the society as a whole. In the meantime, you have to give voice to the voiceless, eyes to the eyesless, remedies to the remediless. This is very, very important when you are just sitting over here to understand the conflict resolution at the higher level as such. I'm just requesting my delegates to explore yourself, to understand what is all about a reprisal, what are the contents in it, why you need to have reprisal at the international level to think how exactly you are criminalizing reprisal of the natural environment. You know the fact that environment is actually well designed you have to give more importance. You have to accustom to the custom of the law of nature. Otherwise, the law of nature will retaliate or reprisal against a human being. So in this way, obviously, if rather, it's, you just go through earlier history. Take for an example, in Europe, we had 30 years of war. It was nothing but a religious war between states themselves. And you know the fact that entire Europe was battlefield. There was no scope for protection of human rights or fundamental freedoms, whatever you are just enjoying now. Right to wholesome environment is actually cardinal. This is actually well noted on the basis of Stockholm Conference 1972. That could be read out with the Rio de Janeiro Declaration 1992. In 1992, in fact, two main conventions concluded at the international level, none other than International Convention on Protection of Biological Diversity in 1992 and UNFCCC, called as United Nations Framework on Climate Change 1992. A lot of efforts are made at the higher level with a view to understand the human environment. Basically, look at Kyoto Protocol, Cartagena Declaration, Nagoya Protocol, the rest of them. Apart from these, you have, comprehensive test ban treaty. So keeping enough comprehensive test ban treaty, how exactly the environment is to be looked and called for. This is very, very serious issue that you have taken into note of to understand the criminalizing the reprisal of the natural environment as such. This is one thing. On the other hand, if you just look into the entire, Pandora box of the protection of human environment, you will be known as many basic principles. We have a polluter space principle, sustainable development, common but differentiated responsibility you have, public trust doctrine you have. Then apart from these, you have a benefit sharing principles, then precautionary principle, and common but differentiated responsibility. All these actually are actually well noted with a view to understand the protection and preservation of the human environment. So in this way, although we have had series of principles which are well noted at the international level, the problems are actually ongoing. So there are as many as conflicts among the nations. How exactly conflicts should be worked? This is very, very important from the point of view of understanding the law in general. See, when you are dealing with humanitarian law, of course, humanitarian law is to be called for to understand the subject matter as well. While there is no explicit crime in international humanitarian law that outlaws reprisal against natural environment, of course, there are several efforts to criminalize these acts are concerned. You just go through Article 55, paragraph 2 of 1949 Geneva Convention, which prohibits attacks against the natural environment as a form of reprisal. You cannot take retaliation or reprisal against the natural environment as well. How conflict affect environment? It is a fundamental question shall be asked. How exactly conflict will be actually affecting human environment? You just go through Hiroshima and Nagasaki when American bombarded on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, devastated. Everything was collapsed, and there was no scope for understanding, human environment as well. You just go through even Darfur crisis. Apart from these, you just refer Yemen civil war, Syrian civil war, Ukraine crisis, war in Chechnya, war in Georgia, then war in Iraq. Holocaust occurred without bothering the human environment as well. In 2023, you just go through statistics available at the international level. In 2023 alone, over 170 armed conflicts were recorded. Nearly 120 million people worldwide forcibly displaced. Displacement is actually quite common. Even today, we are not finding, a sound legislations at the national or international level as well. They are actually deprived and they are highly discriminated even today, except guiding principles on IDP, which was actually drafted by Francis Deng of Sudan. We are not finding any law of the land. These are the major crises we have from the point of view of understanding the how exactly the reprisals which are created hell on us. This is very important. Look in and understand Ukraine, which costs are expected to be around $34.6 billion. Look at all these situations. In Gaza, then has been actually complete degradation of soil, water, land, and agriculture. How exactly the conflicts were many in this case is concerned. Apart from this, even WHO has given some reports that around 179,000 cases acute respiratory infection in Ukraine, around 136,000 cases of diarrhea among children. Similarly, in Democratic Republic of Congo, we had number of instances which were actually damaging the entire territorial system as such. This is very important. And you know the fact that when you are just dealing with this particular issue of great relevance and the way in which you are dealing, it has to be dealt on the basis of a law is available. Then look into armed conflicts are alone large, quantities of munitions containing heavy metals and depleted uranium and explosive chemicals, all toxic, even in modest quantities, with devastating the impact on human health and the environment as well. So war is inevitable. I agree with you. Sometimes it requires a lot of drill to understand what is all about the war. Either it could be the form of internal or international armed conflict as well. And the fact that sometimes internal armed conflict is 100 times dangerous than international armed conflict as well. You have to think about it. So keeping in view of all these issues and challenges, of course, criminalizing these requires some more active protections at the international level as such. Apart from Article 55, paragraph 2 of the Geneva Convention in 1949, we have ICRC guidelines on protection of a natural environment in armed conflict, which prohibits reprisals against a natural environment. We have International Law Commission draft articles on the state responsibility for wrongful acts. Apart from these, you have principles on the protection of environment in relation to armed conflicts, which prohibits reprisals against the natural environment. So apart from these, you have international review of Red Cross, which is actually dealing with international humanitarian law and international criminal law as well. And the fact that based on Rome Statute 1998, ICC was actually initiated in 2002. It has come out with new approaches to understand what is all about international criminal law at a higher level. If something has gone wrong in connection to crimes against humanity, war crimes, genocide, or crimes against peace, in such a situation, the ICC can take to minimize the human sufferings at the international level. This is one thing. On the other hand, ICC has got universal jurisdiction to try all these matters if something has gone wrong at a higher level as such. Apart from these, you have a General Assembly resolution which recognized the right to a clean, healthy, and sustainable environment in 2022. So while you are dealing with the reprisal, criminalizing reprisal against natural environment would deter potential perpetrators, and which provides a basis for reparations to remediate environmental damages. The fact that where there is a right, there is a remedy. You are entitled to get, remedies out of it. It is actually well noted under the umbrella of the concept of the state responsibility as such. If a state violates an international obligation, then the state responsibility would come into picture. This is what draft articles on state responsibilities for international wrongful acts, which were actually drafted by 5 special reporters of International Law Commission, shall also be actually called for to understand the issue as well. See, when you are dealing with these, obviously, with variations by International Committee of Red Cross and by the International Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia, the trial chamber in Ripik Keski, one of the interesting cases in which we have come across with some answers in connection to the subject matter of what is all about reprisal. The sole purpose of reprisals should be to preserve the opposing party to comply with the law of the armed conflict. You have to ask them to follow it, because most of the time, people, they use military necessity. When they are performing their military necessity, obviously humanity should be observed. This is what the rule of proportionality was actually coined on the basis of many customary or conventional laws as well. This is very, very important from the point of view of understanding even Martin's Clause, Labor Code, and rest of them who have outspoken. Take for an example, when we were actually initiating ICRC in European countries, the efforts made by Henry Dunant, who was actually the founder of ICRC, would also been actually called for to understand the purpose behind. So apart from these, reprisals should be used as a last resort when all other means have proven to be ineffective. It's a last resort. I agree with you. War is a last resort. You just go through UN Charter 1945. The concept of war is nowhere defined because of the earlier instances in which you have already been witnessed, First and Second World War. When First and Second World War put an end, the UN Charter 1945 came in with a view to understand restoring or maintaining international peace and security. We need a peace. We don't want war. This is very, very important. The fact that you just visit some places, especially in European countries, you'll be wonder how exactly war is actually a sin at the higher level as such. So when you have failed in understanding pacific settlement of disputes, then you can invite war, but you should know how to wage war with the other nations. You have to understand dharma yuddha here, dharma yuddha or adharma yuddha, or legal or illegal, justifiable or unjustifiable war. All these things shall be looked and called with a view to understand the way in which you have selected a good topic, having great responsibility. And the actions taken in reprisal must be appropriate to the initial violations of the law of armed conflict. The reprisal should only be taken pursuant to the decisions made at the highest political and military level. This is very important. Apart from these, reprisal must terminate as soon as they have achieved their purpose of putting an end to the breach which provoked them. So these are the developments there at a higher level with a view to understand the concept in which you have emphasized. When you are dealing with these Geneva Conventions and additional protocol 7, be careful to understand, one thing. On the other hand, in 1994, in fact, United Nations came up with a very good convention, the protection of cultural property during important. And what cultural property, how exactly cultural property should be protected. This is what even Rabindranath Tagore, who could define what is all about property. Cultural property is nothing but medium of expression, sculpture, or literature. So that literature, sculpture, or something else, a cultural ethos shall not be bulldozed by anyone of them during war situation. So both belligerent states all belligerent states should have had some responsibilities over others. This is one thing. On the other hand, the combatants who are involved during war situation should have had their own responsibilities towards others. You can kill combatant. That's a different issue. However, you should not kill, what shall I say, innocent people, non-combatants. These are the traditions we have under the umbrella of Geneva Convention 1949 and additional protocol 1977. All these Geneva Conventions and additional protocols should be balanced when you are just reaching out your conflict resolution as well. So apart from these, of course, no matter, much has been actually provoked at the international level with a view to protect and preserve human environment. We need peace. We don't want war. In this way, we have to be highly peaceful. There is a room for discussing all these issues instead of just waging war or taking some retaliation or reprisal against a human being or the states themselves. So with these a few aspects, I take this opportunity to thank all of you for giving me an opportunity to share about this event. And in a silver lining, I request all of you just go through some of the basic principles which are well noted on the basis of Vienna Convention on Law of Treaties 1969. That could be read out with the draft articles on state responsibilities for international wrongful acts 2001, which were actually drafted by 5 special reporters of International Law Commission. This is one thing. On the other hand, look into the Chapter 7 of UN Charter 1945, where a lot of responsibilities are shouldered on Security Council to take cognizance to restore or maintain international peace and security. So keeping in view of all these examples and the historical notions, come out with a very good proposition that could be helpful for the next generation. This is what in preamble of UN Charter 1945, it is actually well noted. We, the people of United Nations, determined to save the succeeding generation from the scourge of war, which is untold sorrow, which cannot be enforceable or shared once again. This is very, very important. On the other hand, you have to respect the human environment. We need a very good environment. Otherwise, the law of nature will take a retaliation and reprisal against a human being. That should not have happened. Be peaceful. With these few aspects, I congratulate all of you once again. Go ahead with the next procedure. Thank you very much.